one call. Just a horrible, horrible situation for them.
I don't think that's going to happen.
Welcome back to another episode of TakeaSide. I'm your host, Max McElroy, and we have an awesome show for you today. With all the action from a variety of sports, be sure to get on Sided.co or the Sided Debates app to post, comment, and pick your side for a chance to climb that leaderboard and win some Amazon gift cards. Users can earn points by having other people vote and comment and like each other's points. The more engagement the post gets, the more points you earn to inch closer and get a $25 Amazon gift card. Switching into our first topic today, I am joined by Blake Sevenbergen and Jack McGar to debate which team will win the AFC North. With what has been one of the better divisions in football, the AFC North struggled in Week 10, having 0 wins for the conference. The Ravens lost to the Dolphins on Thursday night, the Browns got blown out by the Patriots, the Steelers tied with the Lions, and the Bengals were on their bye week, having the best division performance of the week. However, the division is still wide open. Jackson, let's start with you. Who will win the AFC North?
Despite everybody in the division losing or tying in the Bengals and Steelers case, oddly enough, I still think this is the most wide open division in football. And so my personal opinion as to who's going to win the division, I have to go with the Baltimore Ravens right now. This is the most well-rounded football team. They have Lamar Jackson at quarterback, who is probably, I wouldn't say probably, without a doubt the best quarterback in the division. They have probably the best tight end in this division in Mark Andrews, and a great receiving core too with Rashad Bateman, who's coming into his own. Hollywood Brown is having a pretty good year, had a slow start, now is really picking it up. This team is the most well-rounded, and of course they have the best kicker in the game, Justin Tucker. This is the most well-rounded team, so that's my pick to win the division.
Okay, sure, most well-rounded team, most talent on a team, whatever you want to call it. They just got beat by the Dolphins. The Ravens, not only did they get beat by the Dolphins, they got dominated by the Dolphins. The Dolphins are not a good football team. They didn't even know who their quarterback was 10 minutes before kickoff. And the Ravens go out there and lay an egg. Yeah, the Browns went out there and laid an egg too. Otherwise, that's who I would have picked for this division. But I have to go with the Cincinnati Bengals. They have a great young quarterback in Joe Burrow. He's going to be really good. He's already coming into his own in his second year coming off of an ACL tear. And he's got the best rookie wide receiver in the NFL that he gets to throw the ball to on a weekly basis in Jamar Chase. Throwing Joe Mixon at running back. You've got a three-headed monster on offense that's really good and a top 10 defense in the NFL. The Bengals are going to be there. Sure, they've been struggling, but when the defense plays good, the Bengals win football games. When Joe Burrow plays to the maturity level that he is, the Bengals win football games. They're going to keep doing that. They're going to grow, and I feel like they're going to win this division.
Here's what I hear. You said Joe Burrow is going to be good. This team is going to be good. Not right now. This is the most well-rounded team in the Ravens. They're young, they have a great mix of young guys and old guys too. Lamar Jackson is way mature of a quarterback than Joe Burrow is, and not what he's going to be. He is right now. I'm talking about right now. I'm talking about this year. The Baltimore Ravens are not only suited in the best spot already, as they sit at the top of the division already, and I know that they lost to the Dolphins, but it wasn't they didn't get manhandled. They lost by 12 points. It was a 22-10 game. They didn't get manhandled. The Browns, they got manhandled. Cincinnati has had performances this year where you're like, man, oh man, oh man, this is not a team that's going to win the division. A couple of bad performances from Baltimore, a really tough loss against the Raiders on Week 1 opening night. You can't really account for that. So you still have to go with the Ravens as the best team in this division, and I think this is the team that's going to win it.
Okay, so if we're going to talk about manhandlings, bad losses, looking like a really bad football team, what about when the Bengals beat the Ravens 41-17 3 weeks ago?
What do you mean about it?
The Bengals beat the Ravens by 24.
No.
That's a manhandling. That's bad football.
Of course that's a manhandling, but every team has a bad game. Every team has a couple of bad games. I know you're a Browns fan. You're awful quiet about the Browns this morning.
That's why I'm not talking about it.
Exactly. This is the team that's going to take their lumps, as every team in the NFL does. The Arizona Cardinals we were looking at as the best team in the NFL. I know they're in the NFC West, which is a discussion for another day, but every team is going to take lumps in the NFL. And the fact that the Ravens are willing to take lumps and keep moving and rolling forward, this is the team that is going to be there at the end of the season and be probably the most competitive team at the end of the year.
The Bengals are 1 game back right now. That's it. They're only 1 game back. You're talking like there's these vast differences, but the Bengals are only 1 game back in the division. They play the Ravens again, and if they have the same outcome against the Ravens they did before, they've already got the tiebreaker. They're going to be tying the division if they beat the Ravens when they play again. The Bengals are there. Jamar Chase is better than any wide receiver on this team in Baltimore. Jamar Chase is not going to be. He is one of the best wide receivers in the league right now with the play he has had. Joe Burrow is a top 15 quarterback in the NFL, and Joe Mixon has played really good this year. The Bengals' offensive line has been better than expected, and they've already got 23 sacks on defense so far this season, too. Their defense is really good.
My problem with that is running back is easily, by far, the most replaceable position in the National Football League. The Baltimore Ravens had 2 running backs go down before the season even started, and they're still getting production out of Devontae Freeman and Le'Veon Bell. Like, this is a team where you have to realize they have really good, solid spots where you can't replace. You can't replace quarterback Lamar Jackson. They've got a top 5 quarterback. You can't replace a good tight end. They have Mark Andrews, a guy who you really can't replace either. This is a team that has really been good at filling in the positions that they need to fill in, and they've done that well, and they've adapted the best out of any team in the NFL. That's my pick to win the division.
Yeah.
You don't get a refute back because that's all the time we have for this debate.
No one takes drugs expecting to become addicted. You should know that addiction can happen to anyone because it's a disease of the brain. That also means recovery is possible. Addiction doesn't have to be permanent, and the state of Kansas is ready to assist you in every step of the way. Visit findtreatment.gov or call the Kansas Substance Abuse Referral Line at 866-645-8216.
Welcome back to Take a Side. Kansas football had an unbelievable weekend, beating the Texas Longhorns in overtime with the final score of 57-56. The Jayhawks played basically a perfect first half, scoring 5 touchdowns, 3 of which off of turnovers. The starting quarterback for the game was Jalen Daniels, who a week ago was Kansas' third-string quarterback. He finished the game throwing 21 of 30, 202 yards, and 3 touchdowns, while rushing for 45 yards and another touchdown. Devin Neal also had another great game, rushing for over 100 yards and 3 rushing touchdowns and 1 receiving touchdown. However, after the Daniels performance, it seems clear he should be the starting quarterback going forward for the Jayhawks, as opposed to Jason Bean. Fans might still have a bad taste in their mouth from the 2020 Kansas football season, where Daniels was the starting quarterback for all but 2 games, but they cannot forget that Jalen was only 17 years old for half the season, making him the youngest starter in college football for that year. And on top of that, due to rules about COVID, he was only allowed to be on campus for 2 months prior to the start of the season. He had a lot of pressure on him to perform immediately and did not quite meet those expectations. However, Daniels was able to work all offseason with more experience and the same receivers to continue his development. He showed Saturday night that he can be the guy going forward for the Jayhawks. A huge improvement with his poise, pocket presence, and accuracy. If Kansas is going to build off of this win, Jalen Daniels needs to be the guy going forward for this year and the next few to kick off the Lance Leipold era. We are going to take a quick break, and we will be back with our final debate. Which NFL teams are the true Super Bowl contenders?
You may not hear it at first, but it's there. Our chant, rising. On this summit, callings converge, voices unify into a chorus that sounds out for good, for greatness. Can you hear it?
Welcome back to TakeaSide. For our last debate, we're going to be debating who the true Super Bowl contenders are. What are your 2 picks?
Yeah, so my first 2 are both coming from the NFC. I'm looking at the Cowboys and the Rams. Probably maybe a little bit more the Cowboys, but both teams are starting off 7-2, great records. Quarterbacks are doing outstanding. Both of them have like the same season-long pass rating. Both of them at 111. That's the highest out of any starting quarterback right now.
I agree with you on the Rams. I think their defense right now, adding Von Miller and especially getting OBJ, is going to make them pretty tough to beat. With the Cowboys, I kind of am wavering on their defense still. I know Trayvon Diggs is an interception machine, but he's given up a lot of yards and a lot of big plays. So I don't know if the Cowboys defense can sustain that though. But for my 2 picks, I'm going to go with the Patriots and the Chiefs. After last night's Chiefs game against the Raiders, where they blew them out in Las Vegas, I really think the Chiefs have kind of found their rhythm again. And the Chiefs' schedule is honestly really easy. Dallas is going to be a tough game next, but then they've got Denver, Las Vegas again. I think both those are wins. Los Angeles Chargers, I think they win that. And then they got Pittsburgh, Cincinnati, and Denver. I think they win all those 3 to end the year, and I think they get one of the top seeds in the AFC.
Yeah, looking at like upcoming schedules for teams, like if we're talking about the Cowboys, their next game they're playing the Chiefs and then the Raiders, which 2 teams you just mentioned. They take both those as probably some of their tougher games right now. After that, they have a way easier schedule, but then they face Arizona toward the end. We all know we're not even talking about Arizona right now, but they're going crazy this season. So you get those wins, and I think that just improves a lot because you don't really want, I mean, in my opinion, I don't think you really want like the super easy schedule. Like maybe you can build some confidence off that, but you want to get yourself tested before the playoffs and see how it goes.
I mean, I think you do kind of want an easy schedule at the end because you do want that top seed. Top seed in each conference right now gets the bye to start the playoffs. So every team at the end is going to be fighting for that. And I think, again, really with the Chiefs' schedule, they might get that top seed. And looking at the Patriots' schedule, their schedule is looking a little bit tough. But right now, I think they could contend with just about any team, especially in the AFC, where there's really no true standout teams besides really the two I just mentioned.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, how I was saying with the Cowboys, if they have like a harder schedule, that makes them look better. But then back to the Rams, they have a way easier schedule on the second half. So if they win out or they, go positive in this second half of the season, then they're definitely looking really good. And then that's going to just have, when they have easy games, it's going to help Stafford and OBJ maybe find a better connection now that he's new there, and then Miller can get some if he's able to play and all that. But yeah, so then they have an easier schedule. Versus the Cowboys having a little more difficult, so then that'll prove either way, whichever one's better for them.
I think really with the NFC right now, there are so many real contenders in that conference.
It is the NFC.
I think whoever's going to win the Super Bowl is going to come out of that conference. But I think with the two teams, the Rams and the Cowboys, I think both of them are going to run into some roadblocks in the playoffs because there are so many teams that can really take them on and probably beat them, no matter who they end up playing. I think there are a lot of teams that could contend with them.
Right, because you have the Cardinals who are like 8-1, whatever it is. They only have that one loss, and then again, you're always going to have Brady, who once he gets into that late half of the season, it's going to be hard to stop him. But I think kind of like a storyline that I like, why I'm looking at the Cowboys right now, is like you had Dak last season with what could have been a career-ending injury, and this is a pretty big redemption. I think for Rams and the Cowboys, they have kind of redemption arcs out of these two quarterbacks.
For sure.
You got Stafford finally having some assets behind him, leaving Detroit. That's a mess up of a team. They didn't lose this week. Good for them. But then you got Dak, who is coming off of this injury, a terrible injury, and he's just balling out. He's like one of the best quarterbacks out there right now, one of the highest passing yards out there right now. And I just think those stories have them going. It looks the best for me.
I do think with both those teams, they have great offenses, but again, with the Cowboys, I don't know if I trust their defense.
Defense wins championships.
And the Rams, they just lost Robert Woods. I know they added OBJ, but I don't know if OBJ can really be that locker room piece that everyone keeps saying. He always ruins the locker rooms. And I kind of agree with that. I mean, looking at what has happened to him in his career so far, it hasn't looked pretty for him. So I don't know if that addition is actually going to help the Rams at all.
Right. Yeah, locker room, he's probably not going to be that great of a help. But, I mean, with someone with as powerful an arm as Stafford, who's got Cooper Kupp, who's doing, like, one of the best receivers out there right now, Cooper Kupp, and then now hopefully OBJ can do something good on the field to make up for whatever he does behind the scenes. But I think these two, it's just the quarterback race really for me is what does it for these NFC teams.
For sure. I think really with the Chiefs and the Patriots, again, I think the AFC is so discombobulated right now. There are really no teams that I can say really truly stand out. And I think with the Chiefs' last game against the Raiders last night, I really think they have found themselves, and I think they found their offense again, which has been the reason they've been
stumbling. They've been stumbling. They got to find something.
I think with the Patriots, again, like I mentioned, their defense is really good. Mac Jones looks like he's maturing way faster than anyone thought, and I think the Patriots can really contend with any team in the AFC right now.
Yeah, I think you're right. Because like Mac Jones, rookie quarterback, a lot of rookie quarterbacks out there right now, and Mac Jones was pretty spot on this last weekend. I know a lot of people when they saw him just kind of like, oh, is he going to be another Tom Brady kind of like low-key guy? But he's proven everybody wrong so far.
Well, that's all the time we have. We're going to send it back to Max.
And that wraps it up for our show today. Thank you for watching. Once again, be sure to create an account to post, comment on a wide variety of sports and debates. Check out Sided.co or the Sided Debates app for fresh content daily. Also, be sure to follow us on our Twitter at TakeaSideKU. On our Twitter, we post content from our shows as well as other debates for everyone to vote and comment on. Our Instagram is also at TakeaSideKU, and on top of our show's content, we do live streams to leave our opinions on breaking news around the league. So be sure to check us out on there too. For all of us here at Take a Side, thank you for watching, and we will see you next week.